Thank you very much for having me here today at SmartCon. Very excited to share with you what's happening around the evolution of Bitcoin and how together we can work to unlock the next trillion-dollar economy powered by Bitcoin. For those who may not know me, my name is Kyle. I am the executive director of the Stacks Asia Foundation. Stacks was one of the original Bitcoin layers that date all the way back to 2017 and later would go mainnet in 2021. And the initial vision for Stacks was to bring programmability and smart contracts to Bitcoin, which we saw come true in 2021 mainnet. And since, the network has continued to grow not only as a network, but also as an ecosystem to be the leading Bitcoin layer 2. And just recently pushed through the Nakamoto technical upgrade, which was the largest upgrade in the ecosystem's history since mainnet in 2021, providing a new base for what it means to become building on Bitcoin. To understand where we are and how we got here today, the Bitcoin ecosystem, the Bitcoin economy, the idea of Bitcoin utility, let's take a step back in time and look at everything that led up to this moment. Dating all the way back to 2009, the initial launch of BTC and Bitcoin as a network. During that time and its next 12 years of progression, we saw the beginnings and the existence of the foundational era of Bitcoin, an era that would bring us the very first NFTs, the very first real-world assets, the very first DeFi applications, and some of the earliest Bitcoin layers that would begin to unlock different components of the Bitcoin technical stack as well. This 12-year period, we saw those layers from Lightning, Liquid, Rootstock, and Stacks, and a few others begin to show us what the power and potential of Bitcoin with utility and then some could be. That has since laid us into the era we currently sit today. An era that kicked off in 2021 with smart contracts and programmability led by Stacks in Bitcoin. The idea that applications could be built on Bitcoin, leveraging its stability and security. It also brought us a wave of new applications from marketplaces, e-commerce, the beginnings and resurgence of Bitcoin NFTs, along with a massive ecosystem around Bitcoin DeFi. It also brought us not just a few Bitcoin layers, but an expansive Bitcoin layered ecosystem with over 85 different Bitcoin layers, showing the power of what the technical stack will require when we look towards Bitcoin utility as well. It also is an era that brought us tons of experimentation, not just because of the launch of ordinals in January 2023, which reinvigorated the culture of building on Bitcoin, but also would bring us the very first rollups. It would welcome in institutional capital in waves, not just through over a dozen ETFs on public markets, but also with capital from the venture side and also integrating and supporting many of the new networks today. It would bring us the fourth Bitcoin halving. It would bring us over a dozen token experiments, showing again what was possible to be building on Bitcoin. This era, while 4 years, in just the last 10 months, has seen an almost 4x growth in scale and opportunity. And that is just a small amount of what has led us in this experimental age of Bitcoin as well. And most importantly, has begun to show us tokenized Bitcoin assets. We went from wrapped Bitcoin to today seeing over 20 different tokenized Bitcoin assets that will soon allow Bitcoin to move from the L1 into a secondary layer and later into future applications. These two eras combined opened up a wealth of opportunity. An opportunity that, as I noted, has grown more than 3.5x since December of 2023. Last year, the entire TVL and activity from applications on the Bitcoin ecosystem amassed to a mere $300 million. Today, just under 11 months later, that number has grown to over $4 billion as of last night as well. When we look at the opportunity that sits ahead when it comes to building on Bitcoin and no longer seeing Bitcoin as a store of value and a boring asset, but instead something exciting and an opportunity ahead, we look at the ratio of what TVL looks like on Ethereum and provide that same ratio of about 16% to Bitcoin. We see an opportunity that sits ahead of us of over $200 and growing billion for those that are building, for those that are investing, for those that are participating. This is one of the largest opportunities, if not the largest opportunity to build and to participate in across the entire Web3 industry. And that's just activating a short bit. Today, again, that activation of over $4 billion represents just under 25% of the entire market cap of Bitcoin today. But to make this all possible, to grow this to the next billion people, aside from our 46 million unique wallets that exist today with more than $1 worth of Bitcoin in their wallets, we need additional Bitcoin layers. We need additional Bitcoin layers 2s to help scale, to help produce, and to help drive future programmability and development. Today's Bitcoin landscape looks much different than it did pre-2021, with not just a few layers, but dozens of layers. With over 20 layers and meta protocols that are due to launch over the next few months to provide new areas of consensus, of programmability, and also rollups, privacy, and enhanced security. The landscape has also expanded to seeing not just the very first verified ZK proof and rollup on Bitcoin, but seeing multiples and more coming. We have the early concepts of looking for trust minimized to trustless solutions and transactions. And we went from WBTC as wrapped Bitcoin with just around $10 billion in total market cap to now seeing over 20 different bridged or tokenized Bitcoin assets thriving in market today. Stacks has been lucky enough to participate and to lead a lot of this effort across building on Bitcoin. A thriving ecosystem, a top 50 asset, but also an area for developers and builders globally to continue to push the bounds of new infrastructure and applications around Bitcoin. As I noted, Stacks Nakamoto, the largest technical upgrade in Stacks, but also in the Bitcoin industry as a whole, just completed this week. Why that is important for all of you that are looking to build or participate in Bitcoin is because Nakamoto helped to reset the bar as to what it means to build on Bitcoin and to participate as a protocol. Initially by design, when Stacks launched back in 2021, Stacks blocks were prepared with Bitcoin blocks. At scale, that is not the most efficient technical design, and we recognize that and we learned from that. We went from block times of over 10 plus minutes to reducing those down to sub 5 seconds. Also providing enhanced security with true Bitcoin finality, and we're welcoming in the world of Bitcoin liquidity, providing SBTC, our decentralized bridged asset, the ability for users to take BTC on the L1 into the secondary layer and also into applications as well. All of this combined and all of the effort that you're hearing about today here at SmartCon and so many other stages as well opens up this third and very exciting era that begins as we turn into the year of 2025. And that is the era of utility. That is the era where we begin to see Bitcoin become usable. When suddenly your Bitcoin can stay on the L1, it can move into the application layer and you can borrow, lend, yield, and have active participation around BTC that once was a store of value, but now is usable as well. That's when we start to see the application layer fully mature and develop beyond just DeFi into areas of real world assets, Bitcoin NFTs at scale, and also start to see the convergence of artificial intelligence and much more enter into and drive Bitcoin forward. And this is how we go from 0.25% of that $1.5 trillion to 1% and 10%, and welcoming in that massive $200 billion opportunity when it comes to building on Bitcoin. If you are out there looking at how to participate, how to build, how to get engaged, I welcome you into the Bitcoin ecosystem. It is, again, the largest opportunity and the most powerful opportunity when it comes to the Web3 industry. Today, we sit just over 0.25% of Bitcoin's entire market cap, but have the potential to quickly amass into more than 15%. And again, a more than $200 billion opportunity with just 46 million unique wallets existing today. How do we scale together? And how do we participate in the next era of Bitcoin's evolution and welcoming in the utility of Bitcoin? For those that would like to learn more about Bitcoin layers, about SBTC, and much more, please visit our websites at stacks.co and stacks.asia to learn more. Thank you all very much, and welcome to the era of Bitcoin utility and building on Bitcoin. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle.